Quantum biology. How nature's hidden code is revolutionizing science. What if I told you that the most sophisticated quantum technology on our planet isn't found in research laboratories, but inside every living cell? That birds navigate using quantum entanglement, plants harness quantum coherence to capture sunlight, and your sense of smell relies on electrons tunneling through space? Welcome to The Future Unveiled. Today we're exploring the revolutionary frontier of quantum biology, where the strange laws of quantum physics and the complexity of biological systems converge to reveal nature's deepest secrets. For decades, we believed quantum effects could only occur in isolated, ultra-cold environments, far removed from the warm, wet chaos of living organisms. That assumption has been shattered. A growing body of evidence now suggests that life not only tolerates quantum phenomena but has evolved to exploit them for critical biological functions. This isn't just another scientific curiosity. Quantum biology promises to fundamentally transform our understanding of life itself and inspire technologies beyond our imagination, from quantum-based medical diagnostics to highly efficient solar cells mimicking photosynthesis. Over the next hour, we'll explore the evidence for quantum processes in nature, meet the scientists pioneering this field, and examine how these discoveries might reshape our technological future. The journey ahead challenges our understanding of both quantum physics and biology, two fields that, until recently, seemed worlds apart. Part 1. Quantum Foundation. Before we dive into biology, let's establish the quantum principles at play. Quantum mechanics describes the behavior of matter and energy at the smallest scales, the realm of atoms and subatomic particles. Unlike the predictable physics of everyday objects, quantum systems exhibit behaviors that defy our intuitions. First, there's superposition, the ability of quantum particles to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Unlike a classical coin that's either heads or tails, a quantum coin exists in both states until measured. Then there's quantum tunneling, where particles pass through energy barriers that should be impenetrable according to classical physics. Imagine walking through a solid wall, impossible in our world, but routine in the quantum realm. Perhaps most famously, we have quantum entanglement, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. When particles become entangled, the state of one instantly influences the other, regardless of the distance separating them. Finally, there's quantum coherence, the ability of quantum systems to maintain superpositions over time, allowing wave-like interference patterns. These phenomena seem incompatible with biological systems for three main reasons. First, quantum effects typically require near absolute zero temperatures to avoid disruption, yet living systems operate at much higher temperatures. Second, biological environments are wet and chaotic, seemingly hostile to delicate quantum states. Third, quantum effects occur at timescales of picoseconds or less, while most biological processes take much longer. Yet against all odds, evidence suggests nature has found ways to harness quantum processes for biological advantage. How? The emerging hypothesis is that certain proteins provide protective environments, quantum-friendly pockets, shielded from thermal disruption. Additionally, some biological structures may actually use environmental noise to enhance rather than destroy quantum effects, through a process called noise-assisted transport. The recognition that quantum effects might play a role in biology came gradually. In the 1930s, quantum physicist Erwin Schrödinger, yes, the same Schrödinger famous for his hypothetical cat, wrote an influential book called What is Life?, suggesting quantum mechanics might be essential to understanding biological processes. For decades, this remained speculative. But starting in the early 2000s, experimental evidence began mounting. The first major breakthrough came from studying photosynthesis, where researchers detected quantum coherence lasting surprisingly long in photosynthetic complexes. This discovery, initially met with skepticism, has now been confirmed through multiple experimental techniques. Let's examine how these quantum principles manifest in specific biological systems, beginning with what might be the most sophisticated quantum technology in nature: photosynthesis. Part 2. Quantum photosynthesis. Photosynthesis powers most of the biosphere, converting sunlight into chemical energy with remarkable efficiency. The process begins when pigment molecules, primarily chlorophyll, absorb photons of light. The captured energy must then navigate to reaction centers where it drives the chemistry that produces carbohydrates. The mystery that puzzled scientists was this: how does this energy transfer achieve such extraordinary efficiency, often above 95% under ideal conditions? By all classical accounts, the random walk of excitation energy through the photosynthetic complex should be much less efficient. The breakthrough came in 2007 from a team at UC Berkeley, led by Graham Fleming. Using sophisticated two-dimensional electronic spectroscopy, they examined the Fenner-Matthews-Olson (FMO) complex, a protein structure in green sulfur bacteria that channels energy from light-gathering antennas to reaction centers. What they discovered was remarkable. The energy doesn't follow a single path but explores all possible paths simultaneously through quantum coherence. This wave-like behavior allows the excitation to efficiently find the optimal route to the reaction center. Even more surprisingly, this quantum coherence persisted for over 660 femtoseconds, far longer than theoretically predicted for a warm biological environment. For perspective, a femtosecond is to a second what a second is to about 31.7 million years. Subsequent studies by multiple research groups have confirmed these findings and extended them to other photosynthetic organisms, including plants. In 2018, researchers at the University of Chicago documented similar quantum coherence in the photosystems of marine algae. In 2020, a team at Cambridge used ultrafast spectroscopy techniques to observe coherence in plant photosystem II reaction centers. The mechanism behind this quantum efficiency is still debated, but a leading theory proposes that precisely tuned protein structures create a protected environment for quantum processes. The protein scaffolding isn't eliminating environmental noise. That would be impossible at room temperature, but instead is harnessing it through a phenomenon called environment-assisted quantum transport, ENAQT. This counters our intuition that noise always destroys quantum effects. In photosynthetic systems, the right kind of noise actually prevents energy from getting trapped in local energy minima, enhancing overall transport efficiency. It's somewhat like how adding the right amount of noise to a signal can sometimes make it easier to detect, a phenomenon known as stochastic resonance. The implications extend beyond pure scientific interest. Engineers are now developing artificial light harvesting systems inspired by these natural quantum processes. For instance, researchers at Harvard have created synthetic chloroplast mimicking structures that demonstrate quantum coherent energy transfer, potentially leading to a new generation of highly efficient solar cells. Now, let's turn our attention to another remarkable quantum biological phenomenon, one that allows birds to literally see Earth's magnetic field. Part 3. Quantum avian navigation. Every year, billions of birds embark on epic migratory journeys, navigating with extraordinary precision across thousands of miles. While they use multiple navigational cues, including the sun, stars, and landmarks, birds also possess a remarkable ability that has long puzzled scientists: magnetoreception, the capacity to detect Earth's magnetic field. The primary evidence for bird magnetoreception comes from behavioral studies dating back to the 1960s, where changing or disrupting magnetic fields altered birds' preferred direction of movement. But the mechanism remained elusive until a remarkable quantum hypothesis emerged. In the early 2000s, biophysicists Klaus Schulten and Thorsten Ritz proposed that birds might use a quantum effect called the radical pair mechanism. The theory suggests that when light strikes specialized photoreceptor proteins called cryptochromes in birds' eyes, it creates a pair of quantum entangled electrons. These entangled electrons are extraordinarily sensitive to magnetic fields, which influence how they interconvert between singlet and triplet quantum states. This subtle quantum effect could translate into biochemical signals that the bird perceives as visual information, essentially allowing them to see magnetic fields. What makes this truly a quantum biological phenomenon is that the process depends critically on quantum entanglement between the electron pairs. If the electrons weren't entangled, the system would be far less sensitive to magnetic fields. The evidence for this theory has grown substantially. In 2008, researchers showed that European robins became disoriented when exposed to weak radio frequency fields that specifically disrupt radical pair reactions, exactly as the quantum theory predicts. Classical magnetoreception mechanisms, like those involving magnetite particles, would be unaffected by these fields. In 2018, a team at the University of Oldenburg in Germany identified a specific protein region in robin cryptochromes that appears optimized for quantum magnetic sensing, finding that bird cryptochromes remain sensitive to magnetic fields about 5 times longer than comparable proteins from other species. Perhaps most compelling, in 2021, researchers at the University of Oxford demonstrated that a purified cryptochrome protein from migratory birds shows magnetic field sensitivity consistent with the radical pair mechanism when tested in vitro, the first direct biochemical evidence for the quantum hypothesis. The quantum navigation hypothesis gained further support when researchers discovered that cryptochromes are concentrated in specific regions of birds' retinas and aligned in a manner that would optimize detection of magnetic field direction relative to the bird's orientation. This discovery has inspired biomimetic technologies. Engineers at the University of Tokyo have developed prototype quantum-based magnetic sensors modeled after bird cryptochromes that achieve sensitivity approaching that of conventional squid magnetometers but at room temperature and without requiring superconducting materials. If birds can exploit quantum effects for navigation, what other sensory systems might utilize quantum principles? Let's explore another intriguing possibility, the quantum nature of smell. Part 4. The quantum knows. Our sense of smell has long presented a scientific puzzle. Humans can distinguish between thousands of different odors, some at incredibly low concentrations, just a few molecules. The conventional explanation is the lock and key model, where odor molecules fit into specific receptors based on their shape, like keys into locks. However, this model struggles to explain several observations. For instance, molecules with identical shapes but different molecular vibrations often smell completely different, while molecules with different shapes but similar vibrations sometimes smell the same. In 1996, biophysicist Luca Turin proposed a radical alternative, the vibration theory of olfaction. He suggested that receptors in our nose might be detecting the vibrational frequencies of odor molecules rather than just their shape, and this detection might rely on quantum tunneling. The mechanism works like this. When an odor molecule binds to a receptor, it positions itself between an electron donor and acceptor. If the vibrational frequency of the molecule matches the energy difference between these sites, the electron can tunnel through the molecule from donor to acceptor, triggering a signal to the brain. This is explicitly quantum mechanical. In classical physics, the electron would need enough energy to climb over the energy barrier, but in quantum mechanics, it can tunnel through it, provided there's an energy level match with the molecule's vibrations. Initial reception to Turin's theory was skeptical, but evidence has been accumulating. In 2013, researchers at University College London conducted experiments with fruit flies, training them to avoid either deuterated or normal versions of the same odorant molecules. Deuterated molecules have identical shapes but different vibrational frequencies due to heavier hydrogen isotopes. The flies could distinguish between these molecules, supporting the vibrational theory. When the researchers blocked certain vibrational frequencies with another molecule, the fly's ability to distinguish was impaired, exactly as the quantum model predicts. More direct evidence came in 2020, when a team at the CUNY Advanced Science Research Center developed artificial olfactory sensors based on quantum tunneling. These sensors successfully distinguished between molecules with identical shapes but different vibrational properties, mimicking biological olfaction. The debate isn't fully settled. Some studies have failed to find evidence that humans can distinguish between deuterated and normal odorants. However, the mixed results might reflect the complexity of olfaction, which likely combines both shape-based and vibration-based mechanisms. The quantum vibration theory of smell has inspired promising technologies. Researchers at MIT have developed electronic noses, that utilize quantum tunneling to detect specific molecular vibrations, with applications ranging from detecting food spoilage to diagnosing diseases through breath analysis. In medical diagnostics, these sensors can identify the unique vibrational signatures of compounds associated with conditions like diabetes, kidney disease, and certain cancers. Next, let's explore how quantum effects may influence one of biology's most fundamental processes, enzyme catalysis. Part 5. Quantum enzymes are biological catalysts that accelerate chemical reactions, sometimes by a factor of millions. Without them, most biochemical reactions would occur too slowly to sustain life. The classical understanding of enzyme function involves the induced fit model, where the enzyme's active site binds to substrates, lowering the activation energy required for the reaction. However, certain enzymes catalyze reactions at rates that seem to defy classical transition state theory. These include enzymes that transfer hydrogen atoms, protons, or electrons, such as alcohol dehydrogenase, which converts alcohols to aldehydes or ketones. The puzzle is this: for some reactions to proceed, hydrogen atoms must overcome substantial energy barriers. Yet these reactions occur much faster than classical physics would predict, even accounting for thermal energy. In the 1980s, biochemists began proposing that quantum tunneling might explain these anomalously fast reaction rates. Rather than needing enough energy to climb over the activation energy barrier, hydrogen atoms might be tunneling through it, a purely quantum mechanical phenomenon. The primary evidence for tunneling comes from kinetic isotope effect studies. When hydrogen in an enzyme reaction is replaced with deuterium, heavy hydrogen, classical theory predicts a modest slowdown due to the heavier mass. But if tunneling is involved, the slowdown should be much more dramatic since heavier particles tunnel less readily. In 1989, researchers studying the enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase observed massive deuterium isotope effects, far larger than classical models predicted. This was among the first strong indications of quantum tunneling in enzyme catalysis. Further evidence came from temperature dependency studies. Classical reactions show a predictable relationship between temperature and reaction rate. Quantum tunneling, however, is less temperature dependent. Several enzymes, including methylamine dehydrogenase and soybean lipoxygenase, show temperature dependencies consistent with quantum tunneling models. Perhaps most compelling are studies using advanced vibrational spectroscopy. In 2014, a team at Manchester University used infrared spectroscopy to directly observe hydrogen tunneling in the enzyme aromatic amine dehydrogenase, capturing the quantum effect in action. What's remarkable is that enzymes appear to have evolved to enhance quantum tunneling. Studies suggest that precise protein dynamics create transient configurations that align donor and acceptor sites at optimal distances for tunneling. The protein environment effectively squeezes the energy barrier, making it narrower and more conducive to quantum effects. This discovery has profound implications for drug design and catalysis technology. Pharmaceutical researchers are now investigating how to design drugs that target or mimic these quantum-enhanced active sites. Meanwhile, chemical engineers are developing synthetic catalysts that incorporate quantum tunneling principles, potentially creating more efficient and environmentally friendly industrial processes. For instance, researchers at the University of Manchester have developed biomimetic catalysts inspired by quantum tunneling enzymes that accelerate hydrogen transfer reactions at lower temperatures than conventional catalysts, offering potential applications in clean energy technologies. Now, let's explore perhaps the most provocative frontier of quantum biology, the possibility that quantum effects play a role in consciousness itself. Part 6. Quantum consciousness. The nature of consciousness represents one of science's greatest unsolved mysteries. While neuroscience has mapped many brain functions, explaining how physical processes generate subjective experience, the hard problem of consciousness remains elusive. In the 1990s, physicist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff proposed a controversial theory that quantum processes in brain cells might underlie consciousness. Their orchestrated objective reduction, or OR, theory suggests that quantum computations occur in protein structures called microtubules within neurons. According to this theory, quantum superpositions in microtubules process information in a fundamentally different way than classical computation, potentially explaining the non-algorithmic aspects of human thought. These superpositions would eventually collapse through a process called objective reduction, generating moments of conscious awareness. The OR theory was initially dismissed by many scientists who argued that the warm, wet brain environment would cause quantum decoherence too quickly for meaningful quantum processes. However, accumulating evidence suggests quantum effects might indeed survive in specific cellular structures. In 2014, researchers discovered quantum vibrations in microtubules, supporting a key prediction of the theory. Using laser spectroscopy, they identified quantum coherent vibrations in isolated microtubules that persisted for surprisingly long durations. Studies of the anesthetic mechanism provide another intriguing line of evidence. Conventional wisdom held that anesthetics work by binding to specific receptor proteins, but research now suggests they may also disrupt quantum vibrations in microtubules, precisely where Penrose and Hameroff theorized quantum processes important to consciousness might occur. In 2019, scientists at Trinity College Dublin demonstrated that certain photosynthetic bacteria use quantum coherence to detect light. Since these light-sensing systems share evolutionary origins with our vision systems, which are directly linked to consciousness, this suggests quantum effects may have been preserved in neural systems through evolution. The quantum consciousness hypothesis remains highly speculative, but it's inspiring new approaches to artificial intelligence. Researchers at Google and elsewhere are developing quantum neural networks that utilize quantum superposition and entanglement to process information in ways that mimic hypothesized quantum processes in the brain. If confirmed, quantum theories of consciousness would fundamentally transform our understanding of the mind. They might explain phenomena that classical neuroscience struggles with, like the unified nature of conscious experience, the binding problem, and aspects of creativity and intuition that seem to transcend algorithmic thinking. Beyond these specific examples, quantum biology is revealing a broader principle. Life may have evolved to harness quantum processes when they provide functional advantages. This challenges our assumption that quantum effects are too fragile to matter in biological systems and suggests evolution has found ways to protect and exploit quantum phenomena. Conclusion: the quantum future of biology. As we've explored throughout this hour, quantum biology isn't just rewriting our understanding of life, it's opening entirely new technological frontiers. By learning how nature harnesses quantum effects, we're gaining insights that could transform medicine, energy production, computing, and more. In medicine, quantum biology is inspiring new diagnostic tools. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen are developing quantum sensors based on bird magnetoreception principles to detect subtle electromagnetic changes associated with cardiac and neurological disorders. These sensors might eventually enable earlier detection of conditions like arrhythmias and epilepsy. In pharmacology, understanding quantum tunneling in enzymes is leading to new drug design approaches. Computational models that incorporate quantum effects are now being used to develop more effective enzyme inhibitors for treating diseases ranging from influenza to cancer. For energy technology, biomimetic solar cells inspired by quantum photosynthesis are progressing rapidly. In 2022, researchers at the University of Michigan demonstrated artificial light harvesting complexes that achieve 83% energy transfer efficiency by utilizing quantum coherence, approaching the efficiency of natural systems. Perhaps most provocatively, quantum biology is informing quantum computing. While conventional quantum computers require extreme isolation and near absolute zero temperatures, biological systems operate with quantum effects at room temperature. Understanding how this is possible could lead to quantum computing architectures that function under much less restrictive conditions. As quantum biology advances, philosophical questions emerge as well. If quantum indeterminacy plays a role in biological processes, does this influence our understanding of determinism in living systems? Could quantum effects contribute to the apparently non-algorithmic nature of creative thought? These questions bridge science and philosophy in fascinating ways. What's clear is that quantum biology represents a profound scientific convergence, one that challenges us to rethink the boundaries between physics and biology. It suggests that life, rather than being a classical machine built from quantum parts, may be quantum mechanical in its very essence. The field remains young, with many hypotheses still requiring further evidence. But the trajectory is clear. As our experimental tools become more sophisticated, we're uncovering quantum effects in an expanding range of biological systems. Perhaps most humbling is the realization that nature discovered quantum technologies billions of years before human physicists. While we struggle to maintain quantum coherence in laboratories, photosynthetic bacteria have been performing quantum calculations for over 3 billion years. Birds navigated using quantum entanglement long before we understood what entanglement was. And the quantum tunneling in your own enzymes has been operating since your first cell formed. In revealing these quantum foundations of life, we're not just adding another layer to our scientific understanding, we're potentially redefining what it means to be alive in a quantum universe. Thank you for exploring the quantum realm of biology with me today on The Future Unveiled. If you found this journey fascinating, please subscribe for more explorations at the frontiers of science and technology. Until next time, I'm your name, encouraging you to look beneath the surface, where the true wonders of our quantum world await.